Start tonight in our butterfly, a reclining butterfly. So one block on its tall end, one on its medium end, at the end where you want your head. So most people like their head against the mirror, but some people prefer to like put their back to the room, and so whichever is best for you. Bolster is going to lie back across both blocks, so you're making yourself a little recliner. I'm going to turn mine around so you can see my feet. So with your blanket, I'm going to unfold it out into this really long version. Soles of the feet come together. Blanket lays over the top of the feet, and then you've got two tails to turn into little cushions for your thighs. So we're going to lie back and let your knees fall open, but rather than letting them fall all the way to the mat, just put a little tuck of that blanket right up under your thigh. Just hold your legs open rather than your inner thigh muscles having to do that. If that doesn't feel supportive enough for you, let me know and I can bring some additional options. Oh, good. Lucy's ready. That's a great question. Some people like their hands on their belly. Some people like their hands open, just backs of the hands resting on the floor, the mat next to you. Often palms up helps that shoulders feel open. Or if you want a shoulder opening tonight, you can actually bring your arms overhead, kind of bring an elbow into each hand and rest them above your head. That's not, it's really, these are your poses, your shapes tonight. Let's begin with just several of those deep, audible sighs. Inhaling deeply through the nose and audible exhale. A couple more. Your timing, your breath. Just sending a big signal to the brain that it can completely release. Returning to a state of rest. And as we begin our yin yoga practice this evening, a reminder about our 3 guiding principles of yin. First, with each pose that I offer, I invite you to take the shape at your own appropriate depth. Rather than reaching toward the end range of our motion in any pose, we instead take it at about 60% or at the first place where our body begins to feel mild sensation in the pose. That will look different for you today than it does for your neighbor, and likely different for you today than it will last week or next week. So really tune in to what your body is telling you in any given pose. And if I offer something that isn't right for you, feel free to wave me down and I'll come offer you an alternative. Second, we find stillness. Allowing our muscles to relax into a pose and resting in the pose in stillness. And third, we stay for time. And when our brain or our mind sends a signal that makes us want to immediately change the pose, change our body, change, we consider staying instead. Always, though, if you experience any numbness or tingling or pain in a pose, we want to gently move out of it and offer ourselves a release from it instead. When you're ready, I invite you to bring your hands to the outside of your thighs or your knees. Just use your hands to give yourself a little extra support as you bring your knees back together. Maybe you pause here for a moment, just noticing any residue from the pose. And then we'll gently make our way up to a seated position. You're likely going to want a block and or bolster nearby for this next shape. Depending on your body, and in fact, just because we're a little snug in here tonight, I encourage you to all turn sideways on your mat so that you can take a wide-legged pose sideways on your mat. I'm going to still turn this way just so everybody can see me. If you prefer your heels to be on your mat, you can always back up so that your heels are on your mat instead of your hips. And we're going to take a side stretch here with a half butterfly. So we're going to take our right leg and tuck it in, kind of like we're in tree pose. And then we're going to turn our torso to face our bent knee. Then we're going to reach our body over the outstretched leg. So we're getting a side stretch here through the right side body. Choices. I don't want to just sit and dangle here in stillness, so I'm going to bring a block over to support my elbow, either in front of or behind that leg, depending on how far open your leg widens. Maybe this top arm drapes over the head, or maybe it just rests at your side. You decide. As you inhale, really thinking about space opening up along your right side body. Inhaling and feeling the body make room for the breath along that right side, even as the left side is constricted. I invite you to check in with your legs and notice, could you relax through the legs a little bit? What about through the shoulders? Perhaps you give some attention to where you really feel the most sensation in the body and how that sensation might have changed since the beginning of the shape. And then perhaps you bring your hands alongside your leg so you can assist yourself in coming back upright. We'll take it to the opposite side. So that right leg stretches long, left knee tucks in, or left foot tucks in. Turning the torso toward that bent knee. And then lengthening along the outstretched leg. Maybe you use the block for support. Maybe that left hand is above your head, or maybe it just rests at your side. But we're really looking for sensation along the left side body. And you allow that left knee to settle toward the mat. Left hip and sit bone to settle toward the mat. Where do you feel this most sensation on this side? And when your body calls for movement, can you respond in stillness? Notice where your breath is opening up space in that left side. And then gently we'll make our way upright. Pause here for a moment. You're welcome to bring your knees in or stretch both out. give a little attention to how your side body feels. And then we're going to make our way into our next series of shapes. It's our dragon series. So for this one, I really like a blanket for a little extra cushion under the knees. If you know that your knees are especially sensitive, let me know. I can bring a little extra padding to you. And then you're probably going to want a block up toward the top of your mat as well. When you're ready, we're going to come onto hands and knees and step our left foot forward between our hands. You're coming into like your low lunge. Maybe you want a block or two to support yourself with here. I really think I want two tonight. So depending especially on your chest, you may want to pull your chest away from your thigh. It's really about comfort here. Since our focus in this pose is really on the lower body. So you'll notice my front knee is over my ankle. That left knee is over my ankle. My right knee, you've got choices here, but the further back that knee is, the more you're going to feel sensation through the front of, well, that's not true. You may feel more sensation through the front here. For some people, though, if you're not feeling any sensation there and you want it, you can actually come on up a little higher. It's really, our bodies are built really differently. Once you find your shape, remember, in yin, we're moving beyond muscle and into connective tissue, joint. And so we have to allow our muscles to find some stillness in order to begin to move into those other kinds of tissues in the body. Once you find your shape, invite a little stillness. Maybe you relax that back foot. Choice to stay right here or to bring both hands to the inside of that front leg and roll out onto the pinky toe edge of that front foot, winged dragon. Or to drop down a little further. Remember, though, we're not looking for our most extreme range of motion in yin. About 60%. For the first place you have mild sensation is enough. It allows us, by not pushing to our furthest edge, to stay in stillness for time. Allow your mind to follow your breath. Noticing inhale, noticing exhale. Begin to bring yourself back upright. And we'll make our way to sit back on your heels or all the way on your seat if you prefer. Pause. Breathing deeply. Noticing any sensations or differences in the two sides of the body. And then we'll begin to come back forward, this time stepping the right foot between the hands. Right knee stacks over ankle. Bringing those blocks with you for support if you like. And once you've found your shape, settling into stillness. Relax that back leg. Relax your shoulders. Relax across the forehead. Perhaps draw your attention to any place that your body feels a little sticky or tight. Invite you to breathe into that area, essentially sending a reminder to the brain that that area may be ready to release. Perhaps you bring both hands to the inside of that right foot. Stay here or roll out onto the pinky toe edge of that right foot. Maybe lower to your elbows or to the mat. Ready for a little more sensation, with a reminder that we do not need to push to our edge. That sometimes less truly is more. And that we have an ability to stay, to commit, not through gritted teeth and with force of will, but with settling into acceptance and resolve. by allowing what is to come. Trusting that the work is being done in our body, even in our stillness. And if you're on your elbows, coming back up, coming back onto the sole of that right foot. Slide that foot back underneath us. Sitting back on your heels or on your seat. Maybe give your your wrists a little rotation. And the opposite direction. For our next several poses, we're going to be making our way down to recline on our mats. You're welcome to leave a blanket under you, but I usually want mine for the top of me by the time we get to the end of class. You are going to want a bolster or a block nearby. We're going to come to recline all the way down onto our mat. Feet planted with knees bent and pointed toward the ceiling. Because we've been in these asymmetrical poses, I want our next pose to feel really settling and grounding, particularly for the sacrum. So we're going to take a supported bridge pose. How can you allow yourself to feel even more supported in this pose? As you scan your body, can you release your head to be supported fully by your mat? Can you allow your shoulder blades to tuck into place, allowing your chest to open wide, shoulders supported fully by your mat? And can you drape your body fully into your support along your low back at the sacrum? Inviting a deep inhale and a long, slow exhale. we'll press into our feet and lift our hips, allowing ourselves to pull our bolster, our block out from underneath our sacrum. And hugging both knees into your chest. We'll open our arms out to a T or up to a Y. And then let both knees drop over to the right side. If they don't come all the way to the mat, you're welcome to let them drop onto a blanket or a bolster. Check in with your breath. Noticing if it became shallow or constricted in any way as you came into your twist. Can you invite those long, deep inhales and slow, full exhales to return to your body? Staying in the pose for time is the secret ingredient in yin. It benefits us physiologically when we hold that gentle stress of a pose for a long time, allowing our tissues to reform, becoming stronger. Resolving to remain still is also a magic ingredient in yin, benefiting us mentally and emotionally. So much of our life and our world is consumed by drama and activity. And in the midst of it, we can find our still point, the eye of our storm. When we stay in our yin poses long enough that we become challenged, we have the opportunity to practice this finding our still center in the midst of activity and chaos. I invite you to bring your knees back through center and take them over to the opposite side. Finding your appropriate edge. Settling into stillness. Even when our body finds stillness. Sometimes it is the activity in our minds that threatens to overwhelm. When we're stressed, the sympathetic nervous system is active, and our mind can become frantic with thoughts. Our breath can become quick, shallow, and uneven. Our vision narrows, and we often can only see the first or quickest solution in front of us. When we practice returning to the state of calm in the midst of the activity, stress, or storm, our vision can expand. So we can skillfully decide our best option. By slowing our breath, quieting our mind, stilling our body, can bring the body back to a state of rest where our parasympathetic nervous system returns to allow healing and rest in the body. And I invite you to bring your knees back through center. And then to begin to settle into any shape where you can find stillness and relaxation for Shavasana. Maybe you want support under your knees or you want to return to that recliner from the beginning of class, but perhaps this time with legs stretched out long. You've lost your eye pillow or need another blanket in the mix, let me know. I'll help you find it. Is there something you could do that would allow you to be just even 10% more comfortable? Rest. Begin to deepen your breathing. Invite some gentle movement back into the body, maybe a wiggle of fingers or toes. And gradually invite larger movements, stretching or moving the body in any way that feels good to you. When you're ready, make your way to your favorite side. And offer yourself a couple of good breaths here. In through the nose. Full and complete exhale. And when you're ready, make your way back up to a seated position. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me and with one another this evening. May you be safe. May you be well. May you be at peace. Namaste. Our meditation during our twist was adapted from Bernie Clark's Complete Guide to Yin Yoga. I want to honor that tradition and teaching that I used this evening.